Ó máa bójú ọ̀run òkùnkùn ló ṣubúlẹ̀.
Ó máa bójú ọ̀run òkùnkùn ló ṣubúlẹ̀.
Mo ní ẹ̀ẹ́rẹ́ yìí o. Kí ni dé sí Yorùbá o ọmọ aráyé? Kí ni ṣẹlẹ̀ sí Yorùbá o ọmọ Oduduwa o?
Yéyéyéyéyéyé àwa máa ṣe ọ̀rọ̀ ńlá ń bẹ. Yorùbá ń ṣera wọn nítorí owó. Yorùbá ń jìra wọn lẹ́sẹ̀ nítorí ipò. Wọ́n gbẹ̀bí fáláre, wọ́n gbáre pẹ́lẹ́bí. Wọ́n kò lè kó wájà, wọ́n tún polóko wá mú. Ọgbọ́n tí wọ́n gbọ́ ló gbé wọn délé ọlá. Ọgbọ́n náà ló tún padà wá sí gbé wọn mọ́lẹ̀ o. Àwọn tí wọ́n ti ń ṣọ̀gá lọ́jọ́ tó ti pẹ́. Tún padà wá dẹni à ń fọwọ́ ti sẹ́yìn o. Yóò Yorùbá yoyoyo bí iná alẹ́. Yorùbá rúrúrú bí omi òkun. Yorùbá bàbá ni bàbá ń ṣe. Yóò Yorùbá ronú o.
Yorùbá sọra wọn di bọ́ọ̀lù fáráyé gbá.
Wọ́n bá gbá wọn sókè, wọ́n tún gbá wọn sísàlẹ̀ o. Ẹ̀yà tí ó ti kéré tẹ́lẹ̀ ni wọ́n gé kúrú. Àwọn tí àìfẹ́ lọ́tún ti dẹni àtijọ́. Yorùbá jókòó sílẹ̀ ẹ̀gẹ̀dẹ̀ wọn fọwọ́ lọ́wọ́. Bí àgùntàn tí abọ́ rẹ̀ ń gbòrìṣà ilẹ̀ o. Yóò Yorùbá ronú o.
Oríkì màí burú títí kọ́ bógún ọdún lẹ́yìn òkùnkùn bíríbírí ìmọ́lẹ̀ yàtọ̀ o. Ẹ jẹ́ ká pọ̀ Olódùmarè ká pọ̀ Balùwàyé káyé wa lè dùn ní ìgbẹ̀yìn ìgbẹ̀yìn lálàyò ilẹ̀ mọ́ pé ìyá o.
Ilẹ̀ dákúgbà wá o ilẹ̀ o.
Ilẹ̀ ọ̀gẹ́rẹ́ àfọkọ́yẹ rí. Alákòókà ó tẹ́rẹ̀ẹ́rẹ́ kábì. Ọ̀gbàràgàdà bí ẹni yèyé mi ọmọ darúpalẹ̀ àdúgbò.
Dákúgbà wá o.
Òjòjì ti ka ìkàlẹ́nu mọ́. Àtẹ ìka ọkọ tí a pèlè. Ọ̀gbàmùgbàmù ojú Olódùmarè ò máa ṣe gbàmù lọ́wọ́ ayé.
Àwa gorí ilẹ̀ yìí jẹ́ o.
Ẹni bá dalẹ̀ abalẹ̀ lọ ò kéré gẹ́gẹ́ o.
Àwa gorí ilẹ̀ yìí jẹ́ o.
Oduduwa bá wa túnlẹ̀ yìí ṣe òtún.
Owó tọmọ o. Àwa gorí ilẹ̀ yìí jẹ́ o.
Hello there, ẹ kúlé, ẹ káalẹ́, ẹ káàárọ̀, ẹ káàsán, ẹ kú àṣálẹ́, ẹ kú ìyálẹ̀ta. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, from wherever you're watching from, or for whatever time you are, watching this from wherever you are watching from as well. So thank you for joining me on the second part of why Yoruba should begin to have conversation around our own independence. It is very important. And at the same time, while we do this, it is very, very important that we don't mix things up. We should never muddle things up. With clarity, we will tell you why Yoruba can stand and why those who are currently presenting themselves as political leaders of Yoruba people in the current project Nigeria, why they have to be seen as the opportunists that they have been, that they have never at any point in time projected what is of Yoruba interest. We'll talk about what the policies that we are looking for in a new Oduduwa Republic, if that is the final chosen name. Because I found out that Yoruba is so stretched beyond Nigeria. In fact, it was due to the partitioning of the colonial masters that actually made us part of Nigeria. We have our own brethren, brothers and sisters in Benin Republic, in Togo, and so many other places. I will show you what looks very much, at least factually, presentable as what will later be Oduduwa Republic map. It is out there. It is well defined and clear enough. I'll put it on the screen now to start with. So you will be able to know all the components of those who make up Yoruba. And you as a Yoruba man, why you should begin to know and begin to support those who are asking for a proper identity of Yoruba people. We have had those who have used this for their own political gain. And as you can see, we have Yorubas across not just Nigeria, and we are not just, we have others who actually speak other languages that are also part of Yoruba, people. We have, from what I have here, that greener part is where is currently seen as where those who have and continue, who have identified and continue to identify as Yoruba people. That is the greener part you see there. Okay. The reason why I present this is that many of you are currently scattered across many parts of the world, one way, one way or the other. And this is time for you to start identifying, to know who you are. From we have the people in Shaki, Igboho, Igbeti, Ogbomoso, Oyo, as far as Ketu, Pobe, Port Novo, part of Ajashe. We have our people in Atakpame, Anahani, all these places, right? I'm going to touch them at some point as we go on today, okay? But when you look at the center where the head is, where you have the head of Oduduwa, look at that. That head you see there, that is the Ile-Ife. And we call Ile-Ife the source. That is where we believe that everyone came from and then scattered all over the world to what it is left of us today. We have faced war, we have faced migration, we have faced colonialism and the rest of that. But this is real, this is who we are as Yoruba people, okay? So from this information I'm going to use here from Wikipedia, because I love to use verifiable information that you can go out there and add your own possible, details. I spoke a few days ago on the first part of this presentation about the population of people in Oyo, people in Ogun, people in Lagos. I was to speak on Ekiti, Oshun, Kwara. I spoke on Kwara last time as well. So I was to speak on Ondo, Oshun, and Ekiti today. But I'm going to pass that because I'm thinking that we could have an opportunity of one or two contributions from the viewers, because this is going to be the second and possibly the concluding part until further series. So we used other data to, to identify other places as we go on today. So from this public information, which are open for at least conversation, I'll say. Anyway, now the geographical expression, the geographical spread of Yoruba people, the Omo Oduduwas, as we have it, starts from the north. From the Gulf of Guinea down to the west, from the Niger River into Benin, Togo. In the northern section, Yoruba begins in the suburbs just west of Lokoja. That is part of Kogi State today, Lokoja, and continues unbroken up to the Ogowu River, is called tributary of the Mono River in Togo. So that edge, on and on like that. So a distance of around 610 kilometers in the south. It begins in an area just west of the Benin River, occupied by the Laje Yorubas. And the Laje Yorubas are those you will find in the part of what they call it, Ondo. Those they now call the Niger Delta part, as they are redistributing the land and all of that. So The total land mass of Yoruba people is 142,114 kilometers. That is bigger than about 6 or 7 European countries put together here. Bigger. And in population, they put our population at 55 million. But if we have to actually put it correctly, we will put the population of Yoruba people home and abroad at 60 million. That is bigger than the population of Scotland, England, and nearly the population of the entire UK. So that's a lot for a people of this magnitude, of this land mass, and then population, to be seen as those that can't or shouldn't be asking to be on their own and run things. Ile-Ife, the source, is our cultural and spiritual home. As a Yoruba, whether you are Ijebu, whether you are Ilaje, whether you are, from part of this Kwara and all that, yeah, you will be considered a genuine Yoruba son or daughter, Yoruba son and daughter, once you have that spiritual connection to Ile-Ife. And I remember then growing up when they were teaching us the Ile-Ife, the Ife anthems then. I can't remember much of that, but sure, when we get into this, I might get into that as well. So we have currently, as it is, the land is characterized by mangrove forest, geographical part of Yoruba land now, estuaries and coastal plains in the south, which rise steadily northwards into rolling hills and a jagged island region in the interior, commonly known as the Yoruba Land Plateau or Western Upland. The islands are pronounced in the Ekiti area of the region, especially around the Efon Ridge and the Okemesi Fold Belt, which have heights in excess of 732 meters, that is like 2,400 feet, and are characterized by numerous waterfalls and springs such as Olumiri Waterfall, Arita Waterfall, and Efon Waterfall. The highest elevation is found at the Idonre Inselberg Hills, which have height in excess of 1,050 meters. In general, the landscape of the interior is undulating land with occasional Inselbergs jutting out dramatically from the surrounding rolling landscape. Some include Okeagbe Hills, which is 720 meters on its own, Oloshunta in Ikere Ekiti, 690 meters in height, Shaki, Isenbergs, and Igbeti Hill. These statements are just sort of describing the beauty hills that surrounds the areas like Ekiti, part of Oshun as well, and so many other areas like that. That's for the geographical part. Then the climate, the vegetation and the climate of the area in Yoruba land is so conducive enough to grow almost everything that we can, that can be grown at all. Okay, but I'm going to the real resources I'm interested in. Administratively, yeah, the wastage they have forced us into as part of Nigeria, as it is right now, can be stopped, and more resources can be freed into helping the population, the growing population that are currently wallowing in the, in the misgovernance that's being part of Nigeria has brought upon us. Now, we have the total kilometer areas in Ekiti. It's about 6,353 square kilometers. Part of Kogi State, where we have Yorubas, we have a landmass that covers, especially Lokoja, 9,351, 9,351 square kilometers rather. And the areas you will see the real Yorubas in this part, in Kogi State of today, you see Yorubas in Lokoja, Kaba, and Isonlu. In Kwara State, we have a land coverage area of 17,000 square kilometers, and you will see Yorubas more in Ilorin, you'll see more. The largest city of Yorubas there is in Ilorin, and the second largest city for Yorubas in Kwara is Offa. Then when you go to Lagos State, so where you see more Yorubas, though they are smallest, landmass in Lagos State, which is 3,345 square kilometer. So, and where you see more Yorubas are in Ikeja, Alimosho, and Ikorodu, where you see and then Isale Iko, which is Lagos Island. Then Ogun State, the largest area covered there is 16,762. Then you have Abeokuta, our regional capital, as it is now. The largest city is called, still very much Ota Ijoko Ifo area. It's the biggest concentration of Yorubas in Abeokuta. So, and on like that, because that's not what I'm going into. Then we have Yorubas outside the conclave of Nigeria as it is now. We have Yorubas in the areas like Bogu, in Shaworo, and that's in Benin Republic. So we have no real regional capital or what have you, but the largest city where you see more Yorubas, Shaworo. The second largest would be in Papane when you are in Bogu. Then when you go to Colines in Benin, we have area coverage of over 12,000, and we have regional capital, by the way, as Yoruba people. Then the largest city or largest concentration of Yoruba people in Benin Republic, you see them in Shabe, and then the second is Idasa. Then when you go to the third one in Benin Republic, if you go to Donga in Basila, so we have land coverage area of Yoruba people, which is in total of in excess of 5,600. No real regional capital, but when you go to the cities like Basila, you see more concentrated Yoruba population there. And the next one will be, the second is Maningri. These are things you can research and connect as the conversation goes on why Yorubas should connect and begin the conversation of having their own country. So when you in Benin Republic as well, there's a place called Plateau. Yorubas are there with a land coverage of over 3,000 there as well. And we have a regional capital. And the regional capital of Yorubas there is called Sakete, the biggest city, the biggest concentration of Yorubas in Benin Republic. You go to Pobe, and the second one is Ketu and Sakete. So the last in Benin Republic where you see Yorubas running things, if you go to Weme, or Wimi, we have a land mass area there that is in about 500 or so. Then the regional capital there where you see Yorubas really running things involved is Port Novo. And the largest city of concentration of Yorubas is Port Novo as well. And the second one is Ajara. So which means when we begin to connect, you will connect your brothers there too. And they will be part of Oduduwa Republic. So there's a lot to learn. And I'm coming back to administration, especially I belong to that Yorubas from Nigeria who are part of Nigeria right now. But when time comes, then eventually when we have Oduduwa Republic, right, we will be able to connect. I mean, when that journey begins anyway. So it's not just there. If you go to Togo, right, just go to Central Chamber. If you go to Central Chamber, you'll see Yorubas there. And the largest city, where you have the largest concentration of Yorubas, if you go to Kambole or Kambohe, or you go to the second largest city in Central Chamber, you go to Alejo. Or if you go to Platox in the same Togo, Yorubas have a land coverage of over 6,000 square kilometers there of people. If I start clicking on those links now, I'll begin to tell you their population, but that is not where I'm going. That will take a lot of our time. However, if you go to Platox in Togo, Yorubas are there. And if you go, we even have a regional capital where Yorubas are administration and running things there. They call themselves Togolese, by the way. All these places are mentioning Yorubas. They are called, see, Benino is those Yorubas in about five different, different places in Benin Republic. They call themselves Beninois, right? But when you go there, when you listen to the languages they speak, you will find them that they are actually speaking Yorubas in a completely different dialect. And it will be easier for you when you get to those places to actually mingle, because their food, their way of dressing, their way of worship, and how they actually trade, you will find a lot in common. But they call themselves Beninois, right? For those in Togo, they call themselves Togolese. They speak French too. While we were partitioned as part of Nigeria to be speaking English, they were partitioned as part of Togo, Benin, to be speaking French. Okay? But when time comes, we will get there. Now, let's continue. So all of these informations are out there for you to pick. I decided to just mention them just for the sake of what I'm about to get into now, and why, as a Yoruba man, as a Yoruba woman, with what you know, at least with what we can get, with what we can do, you should begin to have that conversation now. Now, again, I'll bring this up for us. Just a moment. And just before I get into this, I have these two videos I'm going to play you. And I'm going to give the credit of this video to the Heritage TV on Facebook and on every other platform they are on. I decided to use it because it is a public material now that we have Are Ona Kakanfo of Yoruba land, Iba Gani Adams, who gave an interview, an insightful interview. I have mentioned this many times, but it would be great if you can actually hear it from him as well, especially for the sake of this conversation today. So I'm going to get on to that just before we continue.
Sọ́wọ́ yóò papọ̀ mọ́ ẹ̀gbọ́n wa Bọ́lá Ahmed Tinubu. Mo sọ fún yín o, gédégbé gà. Aṣàjẹ́ má sẹ́ni mí, kò papọ̀ mọ́ tiẹ̀ o. Bí ẹ̀gbọ́n wa ṣe máa jẹun sókè òṣèlú ló ń bá lọ. So ẹ bá kàn sọ pé ó bá even restructuring kò bá lára mu. Kò fẹ́ kí Nàìjíríà restructure. So but ó da kán tètè padà sílé. Jẹ́ndélẹ̀ wọ́n ló bèrè ọ̀rọ̀. Ó da kán tètè padà sílé torí jẹ́jẹ́ mi mo jókòó. Ẹ̀yàn bá ti wọ́n bọ̀yàn lẹ́nu ńlẹ̀ Yorùbá èèyàn máa sọ̀rọ̀ ni. Tó o bá béèrè question mi ní sọ̀rọ̀ débi aṣáájú Bọ́lá Ahmed Tinubu tá a máa fi parí. Ẹ bá sọ̀rọ̀ 4 hours nǹkan tó bá bí mí ni màá. Ṣùgbọ́n nígbà tó ti béèrè má dá mi dúró. So nígbà tó ti béèrè yìí ń sìn kó wá sí ẹgbẹ́ tó ní wàhálà nílẹ̀ Yorùbá tọwọ́ ẹ̀gbọ́n wa ò sí níbẹ̀. Ẹgbẹ́ tó ní wàhálà nílẹ̀ Yorùbá gbogbo wàhálà tó wà nílẹ̀ yìí bí Ọlọ́run ṣe kẹ́ tó ó ní ọpọlọ ń pa tiẹ̀ is a strategist too. But ọ̀rọ̀ ilẹ̀ Yorùbá ò jẹ́ lọ́kàn dáadáa. Gbogbo sí ẹgbẹ́ tó wà nílẹ̀ Yorùbá tó lálùbáríkà tó fọ́ tí ò lọ́wọ́ ẹ̀gbọ́n nú. So èmi ò bá advice yín pé ẹ tẹ̀ ẹ́ ká kọ́kọ́ gbé ti ọ̀rọ̀ ẹ̀gbọ́n wa sẹ́gbẹ̀ẹ́. Ẹ̀gbọ́n wa ni ẹ jẹ́ agbétì ẹ̀ sẹ́gbẹ̀ẹ́. Ẹ jẹ́ ká kọ́ kọjú mọ́ nǹkan bí tá à ń lọ. Owó kan mo fẹ́ pa. Adití tó lọ sọ́jà ni. Mi ò pè wọ́n ládití o, mo kàn ń pòwe ni o. Adití mi ò pè wọ́n ẹ má quote mi ò pè wọ́n ládití tó lọ sọ́jà ni. Nígbà tí gbogbo ayé bá sọ pé ilé tó ń lọ Adití ò ní gbọ́. Àfín ìyẹn látí ìyẹn á kò lọ́jà. Afọ́jú ìyẹn látí á kò lọ́jà. Arọ ìyẹn látí á kò lọ́jà. Gbogbo ayé bá kò lọ́jà. Adití á wá rí pé òun nìkan ló kù lọ́jà. Nígbà tó bá kù á wá mọ̀ pé ó yẹ kó máa wá lọlé tó bá yá owó yẹn ni máa pa fún yín. Torí ọ̀rọ̀ tó wà lẹ̀ yìí mo sọ̀rọ̀ kan fún yín láti bẹ̀rẹ̀. Ẹ máa di ọ̀rọ̀ mi bá ṣe ń sọ. Mo ní kì í ṣe gbogbo Yorùbá ló máa fẹ́ kí Yorùbá bọ́ lóko ẹrú. Mo ní on percentage àwọn tó máa fẹ́ kí Yorùbá bọ́ lóko ẹrú ojú 3 to 5%. Tá a bá wà lucky la ní 20%. Kì í sábà happen ní gbogbo àgbáyé. Tá a bá wà lucky la máa ní Yorùbá 20%. Torí pé a ní grace alórí ọ̀fẹ́ nìyẹn. Ṣùgbọ́n ẹ̀yin ò ní wárò ọjà tó bá ti gbé kọ́ọ̀ tó jẹ̀ ní lọ́wọ́. O ní wárò ọjà ibi tó bá ń lọ ni kó máa lọ. Tí ọdẹ bá ń lọ sí oko tó bá fẹ́ lọ pẹran tí ọdẹ yẹn bá ti ṣe èméjì irú ọdẹ yẹn ó máa ń bókọ ọdẹ lọ ní àbí kó má pẹran. So màá bẹ̀ yín ẹ fi ẹ̀gbọ́n wa lẹ̀ ọba kan pé ó mà yé wọn ó mà wá yé wọn lọ́la bí kò lè yé wọn ó mà wá yé wọn lọ́la. Ẹ jẹ́ kí n fún yín ní analysis òun bí ní kò má cut mi mo fẹ́ fún analysis dáadáa kò má cut mi.
Yes, sir.
Bàbá Awólọ́wọ̀ kọ́lọ́n ọba kó fọ̀rọ̀ kẹ́. Bàbá was the premier of Western Region in 1952. Àwa ní state government in 1954. Nígbà tí bàbá Awólọ́wọ̀ ṣe gudugudu méje yàyà mẹ́fà ní ilẹ̀ Yorùbá pé òun ti fún wa ní free education, òun ti fún wa ní welfare program, òun ti fún wa ní free health, òun ti fún àwọn ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ní scholarship tó wá di professor lénìí. Ó wá ní pé nǹkan tóun ṣe nílẹ̀ Yorùbá tílẹ̀ Yorùbá ti dá ẹ jẹ́ kí n wá lọ sí Nàìjíríà kí n lọ ṣe é. Ní àpapọ̀ Nàìjíríà ibi tí bàbá ti ní problem nìyẹn o. Ó fi wé nínú pé nǹkan dáadáa tóun ṣe ní ilẹ̀ Yorùbá kóun lè ṣe gbogbo ẹ̀ fún gbogbo Nàìjíríà pátápátá. Àwọn Fúlàní wá ní kí ló jẹ́ bẹ́ẹ̀ kí ló jẹ́ bẹ́ẹ̀ àwọn oligarchy wọ́n ní kí ló jẹ́ bẹ́ẹ̀ wọ́n fẹ́ gbé free education fáwọn ọmọ táwọn mú lóko ẹrú táwọn sọ di àlùmáńjèrì. Tí wọ́n bá fún wọn ní free education bẹ́ẹ̀ nígbà kó di olórí kó wá lajú àwọn táwọn ń lò lóko ẹrú ń bì. Arabi tán fi gé bàbá Awólọ́wọ̀ lẹ́sẹ̀ tí wọ́n jẹ́ kó di ni. Nígbẹ̀yìn ẹ̀ torí pé ọ̀rọ̀ ẹ̀ sì ní wéètì jù as an opposition leader wọ́n set ẹ̀ up pẹ̀lú treason. Bàbá yẹn ó wà ní àhámọ́ mi ò ní sọ pé ó wà lẹ́wọ̀n fún 3 years. Gowon government ló wá release ẹ̀ ní July 1966. Ó wá fi ṣe finance minister and second in command of in Supreme Military Council. Àdéhùn tí Gowon ní fún ni pé kẹ máa wo military o táwọn bá ti ṣèjọba fún ọdún 4 àwọn máa ṣe election kí Awólọ́wọ̀ tó join government àwọn máa ṣe election democratic elected government àwọn gbé fún àwọn bàtọ́ di tán parí ogun civil war tán 1971 bàbá Awólọ́wọ̀ wá pé àdéhùn tá a ṣe ni pé àgùdọ̀ military government ò gbúdọ̀ pẹ́ jù ẹ̀ka gbéjọba lẹ̀ ògbéjọba ìgbà tó di 1973 bàbá Awólọ́wọ̀ resign. Ìgbà tó bàbá Awólọ́wọ̀ resign ní 1973.
It's a loaded information. I'm sorry to, some of my friends who can't really speak Yoruba. I'll do my best to explain some part of what he said, but I still have more that I want him to speak.
In 1979, Obasanjo led government open political space. Kí àwọn èèyàn wá contest, bàbá Awólọ́wọ̀ wá contest ní abẹ́ UPN. Àwọn Yorùbá náà fẹ́ tutọ́ọ̀dù. Òun ló ṣe ẹ̀kú lẹ́nujọ́ mẹ́ta yìí o. Atákínlóye àti bàbá wa Abíọ́lá gbà yẹn tí ò tí padà wálé. Àwọn náà ṣẹ́ bàbá Awólọ́wọ̀ lẹ́sẹ̀. Náà jẹ́ ó di president. Bàbá Awólọ́wọ̀ wá sọ ní December 1983. Ó ní kí gbogbo ọmọ Yorùbá lọ gbàwẹ̀. Kọ́ àwẹ̀ pé ó lè kà kí ọba àbí tó ti máa fún. The second rigging of the election of Awo in 1983. À ń parí gbogbo Yorùbá ń parí àwẹ̀ yẹn tó báyìí ní coup d'etat wá tí Buhari led government dé. Tẹ́ bá mọ nǹkan tí ojú bàbá yẹn rí lọ́wọ́ àwọn Yorùbá nìkan lọ́wọ́ àwọn Yorùbá náà tí ò ń ṣe Haúsá Fúlàní Yorùbá dáadáa tí bàbá yẹn fi ìpìlẹ̀ fàṣọbúra ní 1987 ni. Nígbà tí bàbá Awólọ́wọ̀ lọ tán alágbára kan nìyẹn o wọ́n bá ní alágbára Awólọ́wọ̀ lálágbára tí Ọlọ́run fún wa. Lẹ́yìn Oduduwa kò tí ì sí ilẹ̀ ọmọ Yorùbá kan tó popular bí Awólọ́wọ̀ kò rí president yẹn ṣe o. Bàbá wa MKO Kashimawo Abẹ́lẹ́ ó wá sí Kẹ́nẹ́ ó wá tọrọ dáríjì gbogbo àwọn bàbá Awólọ́wọ̀ dẹ̀ dáríjì so ó wá padà sílé. In 1992 ó bá náà fẹ́ ṣe president. Ó lọ́ra tẹ́ bá rántí pé ibi tí MKO Abíọ́lá wọlé sí àwọn Haúsá lára tó nígbà tí crisis ṣẹlẹ̀ tí Sultana tó bẹ́ jẹ́ Sultana of Sokoto crisis yẹn yí bàbá ló wà lórí ó yí lọ́wọ́ ó láti pe Chief MKO Abíọ́lá ló bá parí ìjà Sokoto yìí Chief MKO Abíọ́lá ló parí ìjà ọ̀rọ̀ Sultan tí wọ́n fi jẹ Sultan ó ra mọ́tò ó ra gbogbo ẹ̀ ó pín fún gbogbo wọn ó dẹ̀ jẹ́ kí Sultan bẹ̀yẹn jẹ́ peace dẹ̀ wà ní Sokoto kò sí emir tó lágbára ní ilẹ̀ Haúsá tí Chief MKO Abíọ́lá ò close mọ́ àwọn ọba ilẹ̀ Yorùbá náà ó close mọ́ wọn ó win election ní 1993 wọ́n gé lẹ́sẹ̀ wọ́n annul election yẹn nígbà tó ti máa sọ̀rọ̀ wọ́n tì mọ́lé ní 1994 ó wà ní prison fún 4 years wọ́n dẹ̀ pa sí prison kẹmà wò ó dìkejì o ẹ̀gbọ́n wa náà ti wá gbé ó tẹ ẹ fi ó tún léṣe èèyàn gbọ́dọ̀ tún léṣe gbogbo àwọn tó ti bájà wá kọ́kọ́ parí ìjà pẹ̀lú wọn kó tó ní ó fẹ́ jẹ president Nàìjíríà ó kàn rò pé owó wà lọ́wọ́ ẹ̀ ó ní nǹkan míì tówó máa ń ra ń gbà míì wọ́n sọ fún chief MKO Abiola nígbà tó ní ó fẹ́ jẹ president ní second time Shagari àwọn márùndín kò sọ pé president is not for sale pé o kàn lówó tiẹ̀ ní àwọn ò ní ta president yìí so ẹ̀gbọ́n wa náà ti bẹ̀rẹ̀ and àwọn mistake tó ń ṣe àsúnmọ́ra Buhari ṣe wọlé kò tí ì lóṣù méjì wọ́n ti ń gbégbá president distraction ló máa jẹ́ fún federal government wọn ò ní gbà fún ẹ wọ́n ti mú ẹ ẹni míjọ́ tó ti sọ pé ó fẹ́ jẹ president yẹn wọ́n yí ẹ tí election tó bá fẹ́ ṣe election òun lèèyàn ṣe máa ń raise ambition ẹ̀ jáde so ó ti wà elite jù ó ti jẹ́ kán short yẹ oògùn tó bá tẹ̀ fẹ́ ṣe president wàá jẹ́ kó kù ọdún kan tó máa fi ṣe election kó jẹ́ 2002 kò lè raise yẹ wàá ti máa ṣiṣẹ́ ẹ lábẹ́lẹ̀ kì í ṣe pé Buhari ò tí ì lọ́dún kan ó ti ń distract ẹ pẹ̀lú president kò sígbà tí president ò ní react so nǹkan tá à ń sọ ó gbọ́ nǹkan tó fẹ́ yìí o ẹ̀gbọ́n wa o mi ò rò pé ó fẹ́ o kì í má sọ pé kò fẹ́ mi ò rò pé ó fẹ́ mi ò rò ní o restructuring náà mi ò rò pé ó fẹ́ o nǹkan tó ń fẹ́ ni pé kóun di president Nàìjíríà kóun kájọ jẹun sókè wọ́n ti ń jẹun sókè lókè a ní ẹ jẹun sókè kẹ́ gbádùn ara yín nǹkan tẹ́ gbọ́n fẹ́ nìyẹn ọ̀rọ̀ mi ò jù bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ lórí ẹ̀gbọ́n.
Kò jù bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ. So what that's the generalismo of Yoruba land. The Ààrẹ Ọ̀nà Kakanfò Gani Adams, Iba Gani Adams. He just gave us a bit of his own opinion about Jagabandits and his Abobakus from Lagos, and they are already reacting. So I'm looking forward to bringing him on to Mayegun's Diary at some point to come and, probably we can get 1 or 2 things out of him as well, especially in the course of this whole thing. But what I wanted to point out, I would bring out of that video there, is the fact that we must not muddle things up, okay? Yorubas can stand. Yorubas can be a country. And Yoruba people can live in a prosperous, more secure, safe country of their own, with their own identity. What you have today, being part of Nigeria as Yoruba people, is not in any way or at any point in time in your own interest. It has always been in the interest of those who have the opportunity of getting closer by claiming to represent you. And when you represent people, you have to stand for them. You have to speak for them, and you have to defend them by every minute and every time you've got. That is not the case. When they talk about poverty in Yoruba land, population is growing. All our major cities are turning to slums and shanties. The people saddled with the responsibility of, at least, representing Yoruba in the project Nigeria. They were meant to get for us the best of the best bargain in the interest of the people that give them that power. But for 21 years, for 21 solid years, we have moved from the position of hope to a position of desolation or desperation now. Poverty is spreading because the resources is shrinking. The greed, the selfishness of the system they have continued to dip us into, the Nigeria system, right? The resources therein is shrinking. Their greed is expanding. And as their greeds are expanding, the resources for the people are shrinking, even though the population is also expanding. No plan, no real plan. People are now living for the day in Yoruba land, and we have nobody to blame but ourselves. We have nobody to blame but ourselves. We must not muddle things up. If you want to claim to have leaders, there must be what those leaders stand for: the welfare of the people, the security of lives and property, the prosperity and the equal spread of the wealth of the land. These are meant to be the goal and at least the main goal of those who call themselves the leaders, those who lead, that we should be following in Yoruba land. We are conservative, we are liberal, and we are also very much like kind of in between those we call the libertarians. But however, you can actually call Yorubas the people of so much flexibility. We are so flexible enough, adaptable enough, and accommodating enough to know that the space we've got is enough to accommodate everyone without any rancor. That's who we are. That's who we are. Until we are forced to accept the identity we can't even define, the identity that now make us praise, sing those who are stealing from us, those who are ruining and destroying the land they should stand for. And most of the excuses they give is this: when you talk about independence or separation and all of that, or even restructuring, they are the people who are the vocal people that will easily want to shut you down are mainly the Yorubas who are benefiting from the rot. They will either tell you they're asking to, asking for an open conversation about independence and so on would actually lead to war. Then you ask them, war with who? And war for who? And why would you fight war? Then they will tell you the other people will not accept it, and these other people will not accept that, which is absolute lie. How would they not accept what is not working for you? That's the question. But what we'll find out is that they all have their individual ambition, and each region they claim to represent in Yoruba land is more or less like their own fiefdom, place where they have conquered for themselves, their family, and their cronies. And they continue to say, I am a Yoruba, I represent Yoruba, we Yoruba leaders are meeting. But they never really meet to push anything for Yoruba at all. Nothing, absolute nothing is pushed by those who claim to be the Yoruba representatives right now. And that is why the conversation around, should we continue to be part of Nigeria as it is right now, while the best brain of Yoruba land are currently living outside the Yoruba land, and those who manage to stay are being forced to accept the identity that does not in any way identify them as who they are? Nigerian. And who is a Nigerian? What is Nigeria language? What is Nigeria religion? What is that your culture? What is Nigeria tribe? You realize that it's the fusion or the margin of completely incompatible traditions, cultures, and the rest of that to merge and make up something that doesn't really work. You are forced to accept that you are a Nigerian. Then you look at all the whole confusion. And as it is, when we talk about the resources in Yoruba land that should go to the Yoruba people, when we talk about your resources, your leaders know, those who currently claim to be Yoruba leaders, they know that currently there is no regular power supply in Yoruba land. But they are easily, very easy for them to say, well, it's everywhere in Nigeria. Why should Yorubas bear the burden of the rest of Nigeria when they actually have leaders too who claim to be representing those areas? Why should Yorubas be generating electricity in Yoruba land, and the people in the areas where this electricity are generated can only talk about this electricity being situated in their areas, but this electricity is being transported to thousands of kilometers away into the desert? where nothing grows. How does that make any sense? They said, let's restructure. Oh, there is nothing like restructuring anymore. Nigeria has been restructured repeatedly again and again and again. If anyone is telling you, talking to you about restructuring, is just interested in scamming you. And you shouldn't fall for it. They restructured Nigeria from 3 regions to 6 regions, from 6 regions to 12 states, from 12 states to 22 states, or is it 22 or 19? From that to 36 states today that you have. That wasn't the Nigeria you signed up for in 1960. Your forefathers, your forebearers. So they have restructured Nigeria couple of times, many times. They have written fake constitutions for you many times. They have repeatedly, cancelled those constitutions themselves, enforced another one, and even give you decrees and decrees that many of them are still very much effective to this day, even 21 years after democracy. There is nothing. You have had national conference about 3-4 times. It never resolved anything. The only thing that is left is to break up the fake contraption. The only people, like Are Ona Kakanfo said just a moment ago, is that if we manage to get 5% of Yorubas who genuinely want to do a republic, then we will make a big, huge, so to say, huge difference in the campaign of enlightening people. Why? Yorubas can stand. Look at you, young people today. The reason why they can't build education for you, the reason why they can't give you 21st century education today in Yoruba land is because they have locked down the resources that your God-given resources in Yoruba land. They have used politics to lock them down from you. Even those who claim to be your leaders, right? They have been limited from accessing them simply because they are part of Nigeria. Listen, Yoruba land can generate enough resources to send our children to give our children proper education. In 1960, even before 1960, when Chief Obafemi Awolowo was Premier of Western Region, there was no oil. There were no all these thousands and thousands of political appointees. There were no contractors from Germany, from Iran, from Iraq, from India, from all these places, building Yoruba land. Yorubas were building Yoruba land. Those who could farm were farming. They were receiving enough support from the government that wanted them to indeed go into farming. Those who couldn't go into farming went into secretarial studies. The government that wanted them to go into secretarial studies so that they could become, civil servants that will build policies and implement policies. You know what I mean? For the government, for the people, policies that are people-oriented, policies developed by Yorubas, policies thought out, wrote out and designed and discussed, developed, agreed to by Yorubas, for the development of Yoruba land. This was a government that wanted Yoruba to build Yoruba land. Today, look at what they have turned Yoruba land into. They have foreigners now, those who don't even know their names. They rendered governance useless. They turned civil service into cesspool of a corruption where people only go to think of how to make your life miserable working for government. Now, strangers are now constructing your roads. Strangers who never lived in your land are now designing policies that you have no clue about. Strangers are now coming in to give you loans to develop the land that they don't have any plan to develop for the people they have no interaction with, for people they don't even know. All of you are strangers in your land today because your land have been given out to those who have no clue about you. Nation building should be something that is collective. Nation building is something that should be general. You must know why you are a Yoruba man. You must know what makes you a Yoruba man. You must know what are your possessions that makes you a thicker Yoruba man. And once you lose all this identity, you have lost everything. A stranger will define them for you. A stranger will value them for you. I'm struggling to pick up all those information from there because they are possibly written by strangers who have researched about us. And they found out that we are so blessed enough with everything, but we are cursed with leadership. The people who represent us today in Yoruba land, they are the worst of the Yoruba land. No matter how much educated they are, no matter how exposed they claim to be, how traveled they say they are, how rich they claim to be, they are the worst of the Yoruba land. Because Yoruba land as it is today are the best, are now out of the land. Our children, the younger generation, they don't even know what the education, the value of what the real value of education today. Everyone is on the highway to success. Because why should you waste your time trying to be the best of these when you are actually going to be lucky enough to be one out of 1,000 of those they finally acknowledge to have those, that kind of wisdom or knowledge, so to say. Now, Yoruba land as it is, the leaders there can't build the land. They are part of the Nigeria project. They want to be governors. They want to be senators. They want to be paid that 13.5 million naira every month. They want to continue to send their children abroad to go and acquire foreign education so that they can replace them when they finally retire. Why they give you shitty education? And they keep telling you, there is no money to give you the right education. Yes, there is no money. You know why? Because they are still part of Nigeria. Every time you claim to be that part of Nigeria, what you are doing to yourself is this. You are validating that current limited opportunity you are struggling with. And as your leaders keep telling you that there is no money, there is going to be more and more sufferings. More people are going to go into poverty because of the problem in Nigeria, because of corruption. What they are not telling you is this. The system in Nigeria right now favors them. When Awolowo gave free education, when Awolowo rallied Yorubas around and told them that you have to work together and build this land to the beautiful country you want it to be, people were donating their buildings. They are donating their properties for schools. Free education in Yoruba land under Awolowo wasn't built on Awolowo building schools here and there. Awolowo building, constructing schools here and there. No, he didn't wait to construct thousands of schools. He didn't wait, right, to be given land to construct hospitals. People were giving them out to the government because of the good policies that carried them along. A nation building for the future they wanted to see. But we lost all of that because we were forced to be part of the fake Nigeria of today. The reason, excuse me, the reason why your leaders will not be able to give you electricity, the reason why they will not be able to construct good roads in Yoruba land, the reason why they will not be able to give you good educations in Yoruba land, the reason why they will not be able to build good healthcare facilities in Yoruba land, the reason why they will never be able to give you security in Yoruba land, the reason why they will never give job stability or job security for you in Yoruba land. You young Yorubas who are growing up and getting into this reality today, the reason why you are going to join that struggle, suffering and smiling Nigeria, as you have been told so far, is because your leaders are benefiting from that project Nigeria. If we should go our separate way, there will be no governors, there will be no deputy governors, there will be no senators, there will be no House of Rep members, there will be no National Assembly members, there will be no State Assembly members, there will be no commissioners, there will be no local government chairman, there will be no local government deputy chairman, there will be no councillors and all these things they put together today. There will be no SA, there will be no PA, there will be no all these useless political appointment they give today. There will be no all this freedom and all these excesses. We will go back to building a proper country whereby every tribe from every part of every land that Oduduwa Republic is declared and agreed to, at the end of the day, will send in their own representative that you can call wherever it's agreed to be called. Call them the MSPs, members of the, members of the parliament, right? Call them the parliamentarians who speak your language on the floor of the General Assembly, it will be called. And the type of politics that we should look out for in Yoruba land, in Oduduwa Republic, that I want to see, that I would love to be part of, as follows. The part of governance I want to see: cut down the excesses, free up the resources, build up a system and agree on the type of governance you want to run and the resources to back them up. Do you know that the most valuable resources we have as Yoruba people are the people themselves, you and me? We are the real, genuine, most valuable resources that Yorubas have, that the Yoruba land has as a people, as a country, rather. When we begin to discover the real Yorubas, who are the real resources, we will build the world that we want, and the world that the rest of the world would love to be jealous of. We have done it before. We did it from the rumbles, from tilling the ground, from when we had no tractors, well, from when we had no mechanized that. We built from the rumble, from the dust. We built the first multi-story building, the cocoa house, from the savings of our own sweat, of our own toys, from tilling our land, from working the land that we have inherited, our own land that make us the Yorubas. We were supposed to be like that. But all of that was taken away from us. And we began building castle in the air. We began building an El Dorado that the politicians, the fake 419ers who have succeeded in deceiving us from 1966, the collaborators, the saboteurs, the betrayers, the traitors who have been roaming the streets claiming to be Yoruba leaders. Now we can no longer build new cities. We can no longer build and sustain policies that changes generation. We can no longer build governance that is built for the people. We can no longer build society that includes, that is all inclusive, that is all for us. I mean, communities where people come together to look after one another. Today, we are now going after one another to outdo one another and see who has the best clothes, who built the best house, who has the best wife, who has the best wedding, who is going to actually, have the best wardrobe or the best title or the most expensive parties in Yoruba land. That wasn't us. It was changed from what we were to what we are now. We can stop it when we begin to reject this false identity. The false identity that tells you that you are better off as a Nigerian than being a Yoruba man, that it is better for you to speak in English as I am doing right now, because if I don't speak this English right now, I can tell you most of my messages will be lost on so many of you who would rather be part and parcel of that fake Nigeria. But to God be the glory, we are going to have Oduduwa Republic. I mean, we are going to have diaspora radio as well, where we will be having vast conversation around the Oduduwa Republic. I will be able to have my own platform where I can speak Yoruba undiluted, uninterrupted, and I can speak directly into the heart of our Yoruba mothers, of our Yoruba fathers, of our Yoruba brothers, of our Yoruba sisters, directly away, not just on Facebook, on Twitter or on YouTube. It will be directly onto their own different devices when diaspora radio finally comes here. So I'm looking forward to that. But this identity is not ours. I have to address you like this because this is what they have made us to be. I'm a Yoruba man, and I'm a very proud Yoruba man. And I will use every resources within my own disposal to discover better, more intelligent, more exposed, well-learned. I mean, more intelligent Yorubas. There are more intelligent Yorubas out there. I will join them to build platform that re-educate us, that reorientate us, that tells you that unless we begin to have leaders who genuinely will go to that their National Assembly, Abuja, and tell them to their faces that, listen, from October 1st or from January 1st, so time, Yorubas will no longer collect allocation from any government in Abuja. In fact, we will begin to utilize the resources in Yoruba land, and all the federal government, whatever you want to call it, in Yoruba land, collecting revenue on behalf of the federal government, on behalf of the Nigeria, should cease henceforth. If we don't have leaders who have the balls, your people elected you. You are representing 55 million people. You should always remember that, even if your leaders, if your political leaders rigged you in, even if you rigged yourselves in, at least you are out there telling people that you are representing Yoruba. But if you cannot go out there to tell them that the reason why you can't give, best education, or the reason why you can't build the best medical facilities for Yoruba people, if you can't go to that Abuja and tell them that, listen, we want to build the best road for our people. We want to build prosperity for Yoruba people. We have all it takes. But being part of Nigeria is the reason why we have been unable to. And this time around, we are breaking it out. And if we don't have any political leader right now in Yoruba land that can say this, then you don't have any leader. That is the truth. Tinubu is not interested in Oduduwa Republic or whatever you are talking about, okay? Maybe when he finally fail in his presidential madness or whatever dream he's having, and all his abobakus, and then his ass lickers and those crump chasers from Lagos, the suffering and smiling goat heads from that shitty town called Lagos, as it is, the mega slum of Africa. Maybe when they finally fail in their mirage, in their illusion of becoming president, maybe they will begin to reason with us like, listen, being part of Nigeria will end in tears, and everything will end in tears. And when you finally kiss the dust, we will no longer be part of your pity party, but we will welcome you back to the real journey that will give you the real identity. The politics you have today is in the interest of those who are benefiting from it, not in your own interest. And it depends on which side you are. If you are a councillor, or you are one of those APC Buhari-didness, or one of those PDP we call them the articulators and articulated morons, or maybe you are actually just an ordinary humbled slave, obedient fools, or a sophisticated moron who have bought so much into the lies of that fake one Nigeria. When you buy into that lie, when you believe in that lie, remember as well that you should never question why you are poor, why there is poverty. The reason why there is poverty is because the current political system in Nigeria, for Yorubas to be part of Nigeria, as we are right now, mean that we will continue to feed the greed of those who claim to be our leaders. We will continue to feed the greed of their families and the rest of them. We will continue to feed the greed of the lazy other part of Nigeria who also take resources from us, steal from us, loot from us in the name of revenue on behalf of Nigeria. All of these things are, at the end of the day, made us beggars. Yorubas are now beggars in Nigeria. We are not the only beggars, okay? Every state in Nigeria today, every local government in Nigeria today is a beggar. They steal from you, steal your resources. They even turn around. I even feel sorry for the people of Niger Delta region, because they steal your oil. The one they declare that they are selling, you will not see the money. At the end of the day, they will tell you, you lost 30 billion to oil bunkering. Who are those behind oil bunkering in Nigeria? The retired general, former president, former retired general, and this and that. They are those behind oil bunkering in Nigeria. But when you look at the media, they say, oh, you've lost 30 billion to oil bunkers. That means you've lost money to the generals and their collaborators. Those who said they sold the oil on your behalf in the name of Nigeria, they even still steal the money. They never come back to say, oh, we sold the oil, oh, this is how much we sold, oh. Now your oil, oh, take this, oh. So when they finally give the 13% to the criminals representing Niger Delta as well, same way they give money to the beggars from Yoruba land. They share the money to pay governor's salary, his wife makeup allowance, their children's school fees abroad, their medical fees abroad, how they want to buy new properties abroad, how they are going to build new houses and buy new properties in Nigeria, how they are going to put some money away for the next election, how they are going to steal security votes from the same token money they are giving back to them to build you road, pay your salary, build you schools, put money, pay pension and all of that. So they no pay you. They put the money to pay themselves. The little money that is left, they said they are going to award the contract for road. They even still overinflate the contract for the road. They won't even pay because there is no money left from the beggarly money they take every month. They now go out there to borrow money in your name. They speak Yoruba, they read Yoruba, they go to your churches, they go to your mosque, they send you to Mecca, they send you to Jerusalem, they tell you to pray in your church. You give them the front row in your church. You give them the front row in your mosque. They are with the best imams. They are with the best and the top pastors in Yoruba land. No money, no resources. The little they have, they spend on themselves. And they come back to you to say the reason why they can't do anything is because there is no enough money. But you cannot take them out of Nigeria. If you discuss about Nigeria, they will be the one to call the police IG, to call the army and say, listen, some boys in Yoruba land, in Abeokuta, or in Ibadan, some boys are causing trouble in Odo. They want to disrupt peace in Ondo. They are talking about Oduduwa Republic. Hausa Fulani man will not call IG because you are holding Oduduwa Republic meeting in Ekiti. You are holding Oduduwa Republic meeting in Lagos. You are holding Oduduwa Republic in Ibadan. You are holding Oduduwa Republic in any part of Oduduwa land. Hausa Fulani will not call police. Igbo will not call police or call IG for you. Nobody will call any other police other than the Yoruba leaders, the people who are benefiting from that. And that's why I say, if you genuinely want to discuss Oduduwa Republic, the type of Oduduwa Republic we want to see, it begins with those who are currently claiming to represent Yoruba. If they cannot go out there and say, listen, we don't want to beg again. We have all we need in Yoruba land. We have 60 million people that we represent. And being part of Nigeria, coming here every month to collect money or coming here to beg for allowance and whatever, will never take our people away from poverty. Making you generate money, raising money from our land, called revenue, and putting that same money in a singular account that you then share to all of us according to our population and according to your own discretion after deducting deductibles and all that. We don't want that anymore. If there is no Yoruba leader, if there is no Yoruba governor, if there is no Yoruba senator, if there is no Yoruba House of Rep member, if there's no Yoruba lawmaker in any Yoruba House of Assembly in Yoruba land today that is bold enough to speak up and begin the process of having a national conversation that says we don't need national conference anymore. We don't need restructuring anymore. We don't need all those political distractions anymore. There are people today that will tell you that they represent Yorubas. If they want us to take them serious, I don't take them serious. I'm just challenging them now, okay? I know them, okay? I'm not in any way carried away by them. But I'm pushing it to you, all of you, who think that calling out all the people who claim to represent us today, those you want us to agree as your leaders, I don't see them as leaders, I see them as criminals. But I'm trying to agree with you now that until you see them stand up in that National Assembly and move a motion that says Yorubas want to put a stop to every revenue being generated by any agency outside Yoruba land from the date. And we are beginning the process today from all across Yoruba land. Are they not ashamed that they are so scared? They represent 55 million people. They are governors. They are lawmakers. Tifnumbu, the Jaga bandit of Lagos, right? If you want us to take him serious as Yoruba leader, can he come out tomorrow and say it with all clarity? No dilly-dallying, no abracadabra, no form of grammatical manipulation. Just come out straight and in one voice and say it loud and clear that all external revenue collectors, all external revenue generator or agents of any government outside Yoruba land should vacate all those posts in Yoruba land in so date. If they can do that, that means they are bold enough to say they are representing 60 million people. But if they tell me to accept one Nigeria because it is the only thing that we can have, then you will agree with me that they don't speak for Yoruba people. At least they are not speaking for the majority Yoruba people. So if you are a Yoruba man listening to me right now, at that point, you will agree with me. Yes, you are. Even if you are a Tinubu supporter, even if you're a supporter of any of these guys, at this point, you will agree with me. Because if their mission is genuinely is in the interest of Yoruba land and Yoruba people, right? We know that there is limited resources because we are part of Nigeria. Agreed. Now, restructuring is not going to work. Forget it. They are corrupt. Agreed. Our leaders and the Yoruba leaders, as you want to call them, they are stealing money from us. That is why they cannot do anything. Agreed. But do you know that the resources, the revenue they are generating externally from Yoruba land alone, what they call tax, income tax, this tax, that tax, and the rest of tax they make from Yoruba land alone, from Lagos and Ogun State. And I'll make it easier for you so that it will make sense to you now. For revenue alone, for state government, Lagos state government alone are currently declaring over 100 billion naira as what they generate every month. That's a lot. That's over 1.2 trillion naira every year. That is a lot, right? After all looting, after all stealing. But do you know that Apapa alone in Nigeria, meanwhile, Ogun State, the next to Lagos State, is generating over 72 billion naira as well. That's a lot. That's huge. That's something that could make a lot of difference. And now, if we have thieves stealing them, what about what they make externally? What they call the Federal Inland Revenue Service that comes in from custom, from from their police, from their immigration, from the rest of them, all the huge amount of money they make from all of these parastatals, from Yoruba people, from those who are not even Yorubas, living and residents in Yoruba land, making from us alone are enough. They are the little money that they are the money that makes some European countries what they are today. Resources generated by Nigeria that they now put away into one general pot that you and I don't even have a say on who spend the money from it. We now go back to them to beg. So if those who claim to be Yoruba governors, Yoruba leaders, this and that now, I don't care about party now. I'm dealing with, let's say, because using your party and the rest of that is part of the deceit. They are Yorubas. They speak Yorubas. They destroy Yoruba land. They make law for Yoruba land. They are those who generate revenue for Yoruba land. They are those who are passing budget for Yoruba land. They are those executing project for Yoruba land. They are Yorubas. I don't care if they are APC or PDP anymore. They are Yorubas. Now, if they genuinely love Yoruba, and you want us to see them as working in the interest of Yoruba, can they stop that and give the Yorubas the real identity? Can they be bold enough to do that? I know your answer, 99% of your answer is going to be no. Mayegun is impossible. Forget that. That is why I am now saying it to you that we have to do away with them. If you genuinely want to begin to have your Oduduwa Republic conversation, you need to begin to have genuine Omo Yoruba, genuine Omo Luwabi, not Omo Ale Yoruba that is having his tongue in his cheek when he has to speak up. Someone who is representing Yoruba is afraid to stand up in the National Assembly and say, listen, I'm a Yoruba man from Ekiti State, and I have something to say. And what I'm about to say, I am saying it on behalf of the 50, 60 million Yorubas worldwide. And it is about Oduduwa Republic. When you begin to have bold Yoruba son and daughter who can genuinely say they are representing Oduduwa Republic, they are representing Yoruba. I'm a Yoruba son. I'm a Yoruba daughter from Ekiti. I'm a Yoruba son from Ibadan. I'm a Yoruba son from, I'm a Yoruba representative from Igboho. I'm a Yoruba representative from Ogbomoso. When you stand up to say that and say, I want to talk about Oduduwa Republic and why Yorubas will begin to have that conversation, the whole Yoruba will rally around you. But if we can't find any of them bold enough, you know why they are not bold enough? Because to them, asking for Oduduwa Republic is like asking them for their own retirement. They won't have it this good anymore, but they will have a very good country. All of us will be able to build a prosperous country that will no longer make us look up to godfathers, godmothers, and become slaves on our own land. So when we begin to have that, when we begin to have that, and we begin to get protection from those who claim to be our leaders, that is, when you have the chance of being able to call a meeting of Oduduwa Republic or referendum conversation or this and that in every part of Yoruba land, and you are no longer endangered, you are no longer under any surveillance. Someone is not seeing you as a danger to their political ambition. Once you can have that conversation comfortably in Yoruba land, then we will begin to have the real progress of, yes, Oduduwa Republic is coming. I have submitted myself. I have volunteered to lead the conversation, the enlightenment through all the platform I am blessed with, by passing on and reaching out to as many as possible, intelligent, enlightened, educated, well-exposed, well-traveled, well-read Yorubas, sons and daughters. There are many of them. I'm not even like near. Maybe I'm actually so blessed due to the areas I'm actually like reading on. Maybe that is why, or maybe I'm just so good in presenting what I think or my opinion. But there are actually people, intelligent Yorubas, professionals, who will go into policy part of what a Yoruba land should be like. What type of Oduduwa Republic should we have? What type of government should we have? What type of system should we run? What kind of police should we have? International relation policy that we will develop and design for Yoruba land. There is this book. They gave it to us, and it is called The Future of Scotland. I don't know where I dropped the book. I wish I have it now. I'll show you. That book is a book of over 2,000 pages. It touches everything that will happen to every Scot in Scotland. Whether you are a refugee in Scotland, whether you are a Scottish person, whether you are just a resident in Scotland, whether you are a pensioner in Scotland, an aged person in Scotland, a newborn in Scotland, and the type of police they want to run, the type of economic currency, and so on. It is detailed. I wish I have it. It was everywhere on my desk, but I'll find it and I'll show you. And if I find a link, I'll share that with you. There are intelligent Yorubas. I'm talking about well exposed Yorubas that can put all of this I've been ranting about, put them together and present them in a much more understandable manner. And we need to have that conversation. We need to have that protection. The only threat to having the proper Oduduwa Republic conversation in Yoruba land are the current politicians, the current political leaders in Yoruba land. They are the only threat. Do not let anybody deceive you that an Igbo man is your enemy. An Hausa man is your enemy. A Fulani man is your enemy. The reason why a Fulani will be able to bring his cows into Yoruba land and then graze on your farm, destroy your farmland, and you're unable to do anything. The only reason why is because your leaders are part of Nigeria projects. And if they should try to defend you, they will likely lose that influence, that position they currently hold. And they don't want to lose it because it is their own lifeline too. So if your lead, the reason why this Fulani can do that, right, is because your leaders don't care. If they should stand for you and do the right thing, they will offend those that are currently protecting them for being able to lie to you about your betterment of being part of Nigeria. But when you have Oduduwa Republic, or you begin to have real Yoruba leaders, they will begin to ask for the real autonomy. They will begin to ask for the real freedom for the Yoruba people. You as a Yoruba person, you will feel proud of being a Yoruba person. And when you begin to feel proud, yeah, you will begin to have that sense of that, the real Omoluabi in you, that nobody can intimidate, nobody can take away from you. And when they cannot intimidate you, then who will be a Fulani that will come and threaten you on your land when you are already protected by the real powers that be in your land? Today, many of those who claim to be Yoruba leaders, they are stooges of those criminals who are holding power, who are holding Nigeria, the owners of Nigeria. As a Yoruba son and daughter, I'm not even looking for 20% like Are Onokakanfo said. I am looking for just 5% of us. What is 5% of 5 million? 1% of 5 million is 0.5 million, right? And 10% of 5 million should be 5.5 million. So 5% of 60 million. Let's use 60 million this time around. So 10% of 60 million will be 6 million, Abi. So 5% of 60 million will be 3 million. Imagine if we have 3 million Yorubas demanding for Oduduwa Republic. Imagine a difference that will make. There are many of you who are better than me in this. I'm calling you out. Join us. Use every material you have. Use every connection you have. Let us begin this conversation. Let us start this conversation. The generation coming after us will be so grateful that we are starting it. And let's start it genuinely, not for the political reasons, like those who are currently there, those who claim to be Afenifere at one point, but today they are in power. They are no longer Afenifere that wanted to do a republic anymore. They are now preaching one Nigeria. Do not be like them. Let's start having the real conversation. And I'm all yours. When Diaspora Radio is finally launched, you will see the true campaign of what is coming. Like I do say, we'll begin the test running of Diaspora Radio this month. Many of you will begin to listen to so many lyrics, so many songs of the Yoruba people, of the Igbo people, of so many other people that we can get their content from across Africa. Things that will be preaching liberation, liberation, liberation. Let us start having that conversation. We cannot afford not to have this conversation, and we owe it to the coming generation. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for spending this time with me as well. And for those of you who must have also added to everything I've read so far, I'll read the comments, and I want you to know this. This material is open. It's free. The video is a free content. If you convert this video to any MP3 or MP4, you don't need any copyright, what have you. You have the permission to make use of this material anytime, everywhere. It is for educational purposes, okay? We have, by the time a Diaspora Radio is finally launched, we expect to partner with Root Radio Love in America, Washington, D.C., Washington, D.C., in the United States of America. They are going to partner with us on so many of our content on Diaspora Radio. They have wider viewers too. They have a very bigger platform too. So if you are also interested in using any of our materials, any of my videos, please go ahead. Feel free. Use them for all these educational purposes. Thank you for your time. I'll see you some other time. Until then, stay safe. Think Yoruba. Think Oduduwa Republic. Genuinely. And reject this one Nigeria. It is not in your interest. It will never be. It has never been. But But you can actually chart a new course together with people of like minds. And let me tell you this, it is always impossible until it is done. That was what Nelson Mandela said. It is always impossible until it is done. And I have this final message for those of you who are probably going to see this as another gimmick, as another probably another show. But I'll say this and take it away. You can call us any name. You can downgrade us. You can say anything about us. You can write anything as you might want to see. But one thing you must never do not underrate what we are capable of doing. Do not underrate the level of damages we can wreak in the journey that we are about to embark on. And when I say damages that we're going to wreak, we know the target. And we have no target whatsoever for the Igbos, for Hausas, for Fulanis. They have no say in what is going on in Yoruba land. Those who have says in what is going on in Yoruba land, they will be held responsible. It is either they stand up or they are forced out. How that will happen? You can laugh at us. You can mock us. You can yimu. But do not ever underrate the capacity of what damages we will wreak on what they have put together, the force empires they have built together in Yoruba land. That is something you must never underrate. Every other thing, you may be right. But when it comes to us, underrating us, it will be your greatest mistake. Pass it along. Thank you very much for your time. Enjoy the rest of the evening. And then I'll see you again when I see you. Think Yoruba. Think Oduduwa Republic. Thank you. And good evening.
Mo bójú wáyé o wáyé ṣámálámálá.
Mo bójú wáyé o wáyé ṣámálámálá.
Mo máa bójú ọ̀run òkùnkùn ló ṣubúlẹ̀.
Mo máa bójú ọ̀run òkùnkùn ló ṣubúlẹ̀.
Mo ní ẹ̀ẹ́rẹ́ yìí o. Kí ni dé sí Yorùbá o ọmọ aráyé? Kí ni ṣẹlẹ̀ sí Yorùbá o ọmọ Oòduà o?
Àwa máa ṣe ọ̀rọ̀ ńlá ń bẹ. Yorùbá ń ṣera wọn nítorí owó. Yorùbá ń jìra wọn lẹ́sẹ̀ nítorí ipò. Wọ́n gbẹ̀bí fáláre, wọ́n gbáre pẹ́lẹ́bí. Wọ́n kò lè kó wájà, wọ́n tún kó lóko wá mú. Ọgbọ́n tí wọ́n gbọ́ ló gbé wọn délé ọlá. Ọgbọ́n náà ló tún padà wá sí gbé wọn mọ́lẹ̀ o. Àwọn tí wọ́n ti ń ṣọ̀gá lọ́jọ́ tó ti pẹ́. Tún padà wá dẹni à ń fọwọ́ ti sẹ́yìn o. Yorùbá yoyoyo bí iná alẹ́. Yorùbá rúrúrú bí omi òkun. Yorùbá bàbá ni bàbá ń ṣe. Yorùbá ronú o.
Yorùbá sọra wọn di bọ́ọ̀lù fáráyé gbá.
Wọ́n bá wọn sókè, wọ́n tún bá wọn sísàlẹ̀ o. Ẹ̀yà tí ó ti kéré tẹ́lẹ̀ ni wọ́n gé kúrú. Àwọn tí àrètẹ́ lọ́sùn ti dẹni àtijọ́ Yorùbá jókòó sílẹ̀.